After more than 8.5 hours of deliberation, James Craig has been found guilty and sentenced for the murder of his wife, Angela. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Sam Shocker. Craig will spend the rest of his life in prison. 9 News investigative reporter Kevin Vaughn was in that courtroom. And Kevin, we have heard very emotional impact statements from Angela's family members today.
Sam and Kim, it was an emotional day in courtroom, both for sentencing and for those victim impact statements. You'll recall that our own legal analyst, Scott Robinson, called the evidence in this case overwhelming, and that was borne out when the jury found him guilty of all 6 felonies he was charged with. That includes first-degree murder for the death of his wife, solicitation of first-degree murder for his effort to have witnesses against him killed, 2 counts of solicitation of tampering with evidence for his effort to get other people to forge evidence, and 2 counts of solicitation of perjury. And the jury specifically rejected an instruction that allowed them to find James Craig guilty of manslaughter if they concluded that Angela Craig killed herself and he merely assisted with that. They rejected that. Afterward, we heard a couple of hours of emotional testimony, including testimony from 2 of James and Angela Craig's grown children and 5 of Angela Craig's siblings, including her sister Toni Kofod, who talked about James Craig's actions as she was dying.
You not only purchased the weapons of her death, but you watched her slowly hide as she casually walked through her house, as if it were just another day. All the while she is trusting you, relying on you, and continuing to believe you cared for her. You were supposed to be her protector, her advocate. She just didn't know that you were the perpetrator. You were the one lurking in the shadows of darkness and evil, getting it anxious for the life to go out of her. You were a coward, and you will never know what freedom feels like again.
As you noted, James Craig was sentenced to life in prison. That's mandated by the first-degree murder conviction. The judge tacked on another 33 years for those other counts. That's really symbolic. It's sending a message, for example, that the prosecution asked for, that trying to arrange the murder of witnesses is unacceptable. The district attorney's office is planning a press conference probably in the next hour to talk about this trial and this outcome. Our Spencer Soischer will be at that press conference, and we'll have much more on this case later today on 9 News. Live in Arapahoe County, Kevin Vaughn, 9 News.
Kevin, we know you have been there every day for the weeks that this trial has gone on. The evidence overwhelming, difficult to hear at times, really difficult when you're hearing from children testifying against a father in this case. I'm sure the verdict was no surprise, but you would hope that, I guess, Angela is remembered for being a great mom, a sister, and a good wife, and that this is like, to think that they even threw in the fact that she might be suicidal is pretty insulting.
Some of her siblings used that exact terminology, talked about feeling like her name was dragged through the mud during this trial by the defense. There was a really poignant moment when the couple's oldest son talked about the fact that he set an alarm on his phone for 10 o'clock a couple of days after his mother died. It goes off every day and just says "Mom" on the screen when he answers it.
The loss they have felt, those children. And now they've lost their father too by his actions. All right, we know there's much more to come. Thank you, Kevin.